the Heart Connection podcast, lovelies. This is a place to connect, to inspire, to heal, and to empower you to live a healthy, happy, and purposeful life from your heart. I'm Pavlina Jirushkova, your host. I'm an intuitive health and life coach, and I help women to connect to themselves, to step into their power and their purpose, and to heal from within. I believe that all issues we are experiencing in life, physical, mental, and emotional, arise from being disconnected from your heart, from your true self, and I'm going to help you to open your mind, to connect to your heart, and to heal from within. So let's dive right in. Hello, lovelies, and happy 11/11. Today, as I'm releasing the podcast, it's the 11th of November, and the 4/11s, the aligned number, is really beautiful, and it carries a really wonderful energy. And I just want you to maybe take a deep breath with me, or a few deep breaths, and connect to this energy. Even if you're not listening on the 11th of November 2021, whenever you're listening to this, just pause for a moment and take a deep breath and connect to your heart, because this is the Heart Connection podcast. And what I'm going to talk about today, the topic is why we are suffering, or why do we have to suffer, is mostly because we are not connected to our heart. We are not connected to ourselves. We are not connecting to source energy. And I will talk more about it today, but let's just begin with taking a few deep breaths together. So unless you're driving or it's not safe for you to close your eyes, then maybe do it later. But if you have a moment, and most of us do, it just takes a few seconds to close your eyes. You can put your hands on your heart and just put your attention into your heart and take a deep breath in with your nose and exhale with your mouth. And you can just exhale with a sound like a ah. And it gets you out of the head and connects you to your heart, to your inner voice, to your highest self. You can do it a few times. Breathe in with your nose. And breathe out with your mouth and connect with your heart. You can just blow out air like you're blowing out a candle, or you can add the sound ah, and that will open your throat chakra and enables you to get through from the head through the throat into your heart. And connect with your heart and get out of the head. And that will instantly calm you down. Take a few more breaths if you need. And just center yourself. Center yourself. Connect to this energy. 11/11. It's a energy of connection, of togetherness. And it feels like a really powerful, energetic portal. So just keep breathing and tune into this energy. Beautiful. So thank you so much for being here, no matter if you are a regular listener or if this is your first time listening to the Heart Connection podcast. Welcome. I'm so grateful that you are here. And like I said, the topic of today's episode 19 of the Heart Connection podcast, is suffering. Why do we have to suffer? Why are we suffering? And that's something that I've been thinking about a lot, and ultimately I want you to know, and I know it's easier said than actually done, but suffering is not necessary. It's just suffering is only in the mind, in your perception. And I will explain it a little bit more. And it's also the tool for awakening. I heard this from Eckhart Tolle, this quote that awakening requires suffering. And I feel like if you are suffering, and I totally agree with him, I feel like if you are suffering, that if you wouldn't suffer, you would never change anything, or most people wouldn't change anything. So if you are suffering physically, mentally, or emotionally, or all of them together, then it forces you sooner or later to change. It forces you sooner or later to awaken. Or most people who are listening to this podcast certainly will or have already awakened. And yeah, if we wouldn't suffer, we would never be forced to change. We would never wake up from the illusion of the mind, which is ultimately not real. It's just a perception. How we perceive reality is just a perception of your mind, which sees things as good or bad. We are living in the mind, we are living in duality. So it's a dualistic view in our 3D reality. So we see things as good or bad. We live often in the mind, in the past or in the future. We never really present. And that causes a lot of suffering. And especially if you suffer from chronic health issues, or if you experience chronic pain or any kind of issues that cause you to suffer not only mentally or emotionally, but also physically, it's a sign, and I keep repeating this on this podcast and all the time to my clients, to my audience, that your body is showing you the way. I shared it on social media, on Instagram and Facebook today, that your illness is not the cause, it's the solution, because it forces you to look at it. It needs your attention. If you feel physical pain, or if your skin is itchy, or if you are in some kind of physical discomfort, whatever your symptoms are, then it requires your full attention. And often we don't give it enough attention. Especially in the Western world, people just take painkillers, or they put on when you have eczema, then they put creams on your skin, so they would just get the itchiness or the symptoms to stop. They just push them back, push them away. And it's the same with emotions. We tend to uncomfortable emotions. We tend to push them away. Uncomfortable feelings. We tend to push them away. But all it requires for it to go away, for it to get better, is to give it attention. Listen to it. If you are experiencing negative emotions, like fear or anger or whatever the negative emotion is. It just needs your attention, and it ultimately means that you're not in alignment with your highest self, you're not in alignment with source energy, you're not in alignment with your inner voice, and all it requires. And it's the same with the physical symptoms, And physical symptoms, if you're not listening to your emotions, then over time the signs, the messages will get louder and louder, and you will ultimately develop quite often physical symptoms. And over time, if you're still not listening, you will develop chronic health issues that might get worse and worse, and you might get more and more of them. And all it requires is your attention. And if you just present with the symptoms, when you are present with your emotions, with your physical symptoms, whatever it is, then it might just go away. But you need to give it full attention in the present, because like I said, more often than not, we're not present. We're not living here and now. We're in the head. We're not in our body. We're in the head, and we're thinking about things we should be doing or shouldn't be doing, or we're thinking about the past of things that happened to us or didn't happen to us, and we're never really present. I'm guilty as charged as well, it's only natural because that's how the brain works. But for example, when you get a headache, most often than not, and I don't get headaches very often, but I had a period of time this year where I kept getting headaches, and I realized, and I wasn't getting it, and then I realized that I would get a headache every time I was forcing myself. I was pushing, I was hustling, I wasn't paying attention, I wasn't following my guidance, my inner voice's guidance, and I wasn't in alignment with my highest self. And it forced me to lie down or not to do anything, to rest, and it was uncomfortable and I wasn't getting it. But as soon as I realized that I just need to follow the signals from my body, I'm supposed to follow the guidance from my inner voice, from my guides, from the universe, then the headaches stopped. And all it needed was to pay attention what the headache means. And that's the thing. Usually we just need to realize what the symptom means, why we in the moment are experiencing the emotions, the symptoms, whatever it is. And we just need to pause and pay attention. And sometimes just realizing what it is in the moment will mean that the symptom will go away. With chronic health issues, that you might need to go deeper. But first sign when you're out of alignment, it is that you feel some negative emotions. And there's, for example, Abraham Hicks tells you when you feel negative emotions, focus instead, when you realize you feeling negative emotions, instead focus on gratitude or, and on better feeling thoughts, better feeling emotions, and so on and so on. For me, that it doesn't always work. And if it's something, if the emotions are related to something that's ingrained deeper, then for me, the best tool to work through it is EFT. emotional freedom technique tapping. And it might just take a few minutes to work through it. And, I might just tap through what am I feeling, start tapping on the side of the hand and start with, even though I feel XYZ, I fully and completely love and accept myself. Then you repeat that 3 times, and then you tap through the points until the negative emotion, the feeling in your body goes away. And I will be definitely sharing more about EFT, because I feel like it's one thing I haven't talked about as much on this podcast, even though it's one of the tools I use on almost a daily basis, or pretty much daily, myself and with clients. And it's such a powerful tool. So when you have a strong mind like me, when you had health issues or emotional issues, mental health issues your whole life or most of your life, then it's usually not enough to just focus on gratitude instead of fear, or focus on love instead of fear. So you really need to work through those emotions and get to the root causes and transmute them and release them and heal them. And EFT is great for that. But I will talk about this more, I promise, some other time. But what I'm talking about today, the suffering, is mostly really caused by not being in an alignment with our highest self, with our heart, with our soul, with our inner voice, with, which ultimately is an extension of your soul and of source. And when you're not living in alignment with your highest self, and you're not living in alignment with your soul mission, with your soul contracts, with your purpose, then you will suffer. You will suffer in one way or another. And the first thing you can do when you are suffering is to really get out of your head. And that was what I did in the beginning. A lot of the times, it's all you need to do is to take a few deep breaths and get out of your head. Connect to your heart, connect to your inner voice, connect to your higher self, and just breathe and be in the present moment. Because the mind tends to run 1,000,000 miles an hour all the time, and sometimes we just really need to pause, or, pause a few times a day. Every time you feel like you need it, like, for example, when you feeling jittery, when you're feeling some negative emotions, where you suffering mentally, physically, emotionally, just take a few deep breaths and connect to your body, your heart, your inner voice, and just give attention to whatever you are feeling. Give attention to whatever you are feeling, because it's just a message for you. It's not bad or good. It just is. There is just a message for you. The symptom, whatever it is, or the emotion, just give it attention. And you can ask what it means, what your body is telling you, what the emotion means, why are you feeling this way? But sometimes you just really need to take a few deep breaths, because we only suffer when we are in the mind, when you connect to your inner voice, to your heart, to your higher self, to your soul. Things just are. They aren't good or bad. They just are. in 5D, in the quantum, there isn't good or bad. Things just are. And also when you connect to your higher self, when you go within, when you connect to your inner voice, you realize that all the things your mind is telling you about yourself, about the world, about the body, about anything else is often they're not fear-based, and it's quite often negative and so on. But underneath all of that, in your heart, in your soul, there's just love. There's just love. And all the suffering is just in the mind. And all inner voices will tell you that they love you and that your true essence is love. It might sound simplistic, but if you connect to your own inner voice, it will tell you the same. Because we are energy and we are extension of Source, and Source is love, Source is light, and you are that as well. We are all one, we are all connected, and we are all love. Underneath all the layers of conditioning and limiting beliefs and negative thoughts, and so on and so on, and all of the layers of traumas and experiences and emotions, underneath all of that is just pure love. So we suffer because we are not living in the present. We are not connected quite often. Most of us aren't. Or even if we are, we're not connected 100% of the time unless you're enlightened. And even though I have a strong connection with my inner voice, with my higher self, with my soul, I still suffer a lot of the time, mentally, emotionally, sometimes physically. And it's a learning curve, it's a journey. And I still keep learning. I still have to work through things, and most people do. But when you realize that suffering is only in the mind and it's there for you, the symptoms, physical, mental, emotional, whatever it is, they just showing you the way to yourself, because really it's just signs, it's just messages that are guiding you back to yourself. They are guiding you to awaken from the illusion of the mind, that are guiding you back to yourself, because we have forgotten and we are waking up. More and more people these days are waking up, and you may have already awakened and you might be on a spiritual journey, but there's always the next step and the next layer, and so on and so on. And for me, it's certainly been a journey the last few years. It's the journey, I feel like, never ends. You keep going, you keep learning, you keep discovering new and new layers, new and new dimensions. But the more conscious you become, and the more you follow your guidance, and the more you keep connecting to your heart, to yourself, to your inner voice, to your soul, whatever you want to call it, then the less you will suffer. And really, suffering is only here in your mind, in your head, and it just wants your attention. It just is a sign for you to give it attention, whatever it is. If it's a negative emotion, if it's a physical symptom, whatever it is, whatever form the suffering has taken, is just a sign for you to give it attention and come back to your heart. Sometimes you don't really need to know. Sometimes it might not even be your energy, It could be you might have taken on other people's energy, other people's emotions. If you are sensitive like me, you might have taken on other people's emotions, people around you, or even collective energy, The last few years have been difficult for most of us, and there has been a lot of fear collectively from COVID and so on. And if you are more sensitive, then you can take on other people's fears or other people's emotions, and you can just keep coming back to your heart, to your breath, and back to the present. And in the present, in your heart, there's only love. There's only love. So much love for you. So much love for you from your own inner voice, from your own soul, from your guides, from your angels, from the universe. Just take a breath and connect to your heart, and you sure feel it. And if it's difficult for you, then just take a deep breath and exhale. That will help you to get out of the head, connect with your heart. And if there is resistance, go to my website and check out my free Heal From Within workshop. I guide you to release some blocks, some resistance together with your inner voice and to connect more. And you can also get on the wait list for the Conscious Healing Blueprint, which will be launching next month. And I will be doing, before I launch, I will be doing a free event where you will be able to experience some of the modalities I use with my clients, including EFT, inner voice work, and maybe some other things as well. So if you haven't signed up for the waitlist to find out about Conscious Healing Blueprint, and if you're not on my newsletter list, and sign up for both or either of them to get updates about things that are coming up next month. I'm so excited about that, and I'm so excited to share these things with you and to guide you and to welcome some of you into Conscious Healing Blueprint, which will be a 3-month online program for women with chronic health issues who are ready to transform their health, their life, who are ready to step into their power, to connect to themselves, and really to be guided by me step by step and by their inner voices to become their own healers, to release everything that's standing in the way of their health and well-being. So if you haven't signed up for the waitlist or the newsletter, I will put the links in the show notes, and you can sign up there. And if you would like to find out more about the Conscious Healing Blueprint, I did a whole episode about the new paradigm on conscious healing a few episodes ago, so I will include the link in the show notes as well. And you can, if you haven't listened to that and you interested, then you can go back and listen to it as well. So that's all for today. I hope this was helpful for you. Yeah, like I said, just whenever you feel you are suffering mentally, physically, emotionally, just connect to your heart. Get out of the head, connect to your heart, take a few deep breaths. You can, of course, focus on things you're grateful for, focus on gratitude, focus on love, focus on good feeling emotions instead. Choose good feeling thoughts instead. If it's not enough, then there's other tools, including EFT, which I feel like I really should do an episode on, and maybe even do some guided EFT for you guys so you can really experience it. And it will definitely be part of the free event in December. I will talk about that more maybe next time already, and you will definitely find out soon enough. But that's all for today. I'm so grateful that you are here, that you are here with me, and then that I could feel your beautiful energy on the 11th, on 11/11, on the 11th of November. And yeah, we are all in this together. We are healing together, because when you heal yourself, when you help others to heal, it will enable you to, when you heal yourself, it will help others around you as well. By healing yourself, you are helping to heal your family, your ancestors, your community, your tribe, and ultimately you're contributing to the healing of humanity, of the planet. We are all in this together. It all starts with you. Change starts with you. And if you are ready to, if you are ready to take responsibility for yourself, your health, and your life, then definitely sign up for the Conscious Healing Blueprint waitlist. And that's all from me today. I'm so grateful for all of you who are here with me, who are sharing this energy, who are walking this path. And we are ending the suffering together. Sending you so much love from my heart to yours. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to get in touch. Please share the episode if you feel inspired, rate and review. And thank you so much for listening. And I will talk to you again soon. Much love. Bye-bye.